switch up and get into game numero uno. And here we go. Alright then, welcome guys, welcome back to the War is Coming Grand Finals. And we are here now with round 3, which is the 2v2 round between the Tyrant Legends and the Tyrant Warlords, to find out who is going to be crowned King of the Tyrant Wars number 3. Winners of the Clash of the Tyrants. Who knows? So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing how these set of games go. They should be really nice, and I really do prefer the 2v2s and the 1v1s over the big ones. So yeah, I mean, let's kick things off in just a second, because Enadil just donated $36. So thank you very much, man, much appreciated. And apparently Augustus Caesar is a sexy bitch. Well, I don't have any kind of, you know, preferences towards Matt there, but if you think that, then I know why this is. I know why this is. Augustus Caesar's been back on the robe streams again, hasn't he? He's been flashing a little bit of chest on his robe streams, and Enadil's got the hots. So thank you very much, Enadil. Much appreciated. Anyway, yeah, introduce the players. So off to the right side in the yellow, we have the Viper, and he is playing as the Mayans for the Tyrant Legends. And down to the south of him for the Tyrant Legends, we have Jordan 23 in the blue, playing as the Mayans. Now, why am I not surprised that we have the Viper and Jordan 23 here? Obviously, the Tyrant Legends are made up of both the Viper, Jordan, Cab, and Doubt. And to be honest with you, when it comes to the 1v1s, and the 2v2s, I wouldn't be surprised if the majority of the games are played with Jordan 23 and the Viper. They are just the, you know, the bromance team, the dream team duo, and these guys, you know, they've played together a lot. They've got a really good connection, great communication, and it doesn't surprise me at all that these two guys are playing together here for the Tyrant Legends. I'd like to see some action from Doubt and Cab later down the line, but I guess we'll have to wait and see for that one. So that's the Tyrant Legends there off to the right of the map, and over to the left of the map in the northwest, we've got Bagiofro in the orange, and well, even now he's still playing in the orange. Does this mean he's playing as the Mayans? Why, yes it does. Bagiofro playing as the Mayans there, what a surprise. And he is playing for the Tyrant Warlords, of course. And down to the south of him, in the purple, we've got Slam playing as the Persians, which is nice to see. Persians and Mayans versus the Vikings and the Mayans. Now, I'm very surprised, actually, to see Jordan 23 playing as the Vikings here. Now, if you guys remember back to when we watched the 3v3 games on this map being Reservoir, we also saw Jordan 23 playing as the Vikings then as well. And I don't really think he did an amazing job at that. I mean, his job was to sling, and eventually the Warlords broke through the walls and they won that game. Jordan 23 just getting crumbled to pieces on the flank. So, you know, the fact that he's gone for Vikings here, and the fact that the Viper's playing Mayans, generally going to indicate some kind of a sling. But in a 2v2, slinging is a little bit more risky, because, you know, you've not got a pocket position to kind of, you know, you've not got two flanks to keep the pocket safe. You're on the edge, and you are against that one-on-one on the left side and one-on-one on the top side or whatever. So, you know, Slam playing as the Persians here. This map, pretty well. It's not easy to wall it up. It's quite a big wall to make. You've got a lot of ground to cover. There are a few patches of trees, but there's still a lot of walling to do. And if Slam plays aggressive here on the flank, he could prevent Jordan 23 from being able to sling or anything like that. I guess we'll have to just wait and see. Obviously, another potential pick for the Vikings here over anything else is the fact that there is water on this map, but you got to bear in mind the water here really isn't that valuable. There's not a huge amount of ships. Sorry, there's as many ships as the players decide to build. No, there's not a huge amount of fish, and that's kind of, you know, a big factor when it comes to docking. If there was no fish in here at all, obviously there would be no docking. So yeah, there's not a huge number of fish in here. And also, we have got the gold, which is interesting, because this actually has more gold in the 2v2 than it did in the 3v3. So, might be worth getting that later on, depending on the gold situation on the edge of the map. Now, already we see Viper walling up on this right side, quickly walling there. And, of course, if Jordan 23 were to do similar, then it would be pretty damn early for both of them. The fact that Viper is walling up here, though, that makes me kind of think we're going to see him play a lot more defensively, obviously. Also, that would kind of solidify the theory here that maybe Jordan 23 is intending to sling him anyway. We'll have to wait and see. Viper actually losing a villager there as well, which is, I guess, unusual. That might actually not be a villager. That could be his Eagle Warrior, in which case, I guess we'll find out in a second. No, that's not a villager. That's his Eagle Warrior. He was obviously trying to lure the boar with his Eagle Warrior, and he ended up losing it. I'm going to assume that's what happened. Nope, he still has the Eagle Warrior. Never mind. So, yeah, Viper losing a villager there, which is not a great start for him. Both of the Tyrant Warlords docking so far. We've got Bad Jofro and Slam, both with 3 and 4 fishing ships each, and both of them walling up as well. Slam walling this left side, Bad Jofro walling the right side. And, you know, it surprises me so much to see Viper and Jordan 23 walling up like this. Jordan obviously opting to wall more close to home, but you know, it does surprise me to see them walling up like this because, you know, if you've ever watched the Viper stream, or if you've ever watched the Viper play, you'll probably notice how much he complains when other players wall. And here he is, hard walling before anyone else, which is, you know, a little surprise to me. But I guess, you know, they're in it to win it. They want to get as many games won as possible and as much money won as possible, as well, I guess. So if walling is the way to win that money, then of course they are going to wall. Jordan 23 here with this 3 militia drush though, and you know, that's not going to be too effective because Slam's already completely walled up on this left hand side. So they are going to, well, not be able to get through. The only way they're going to get through is either transporting around or breaking their way down through the palisade wall. Interestingly enough here, there's a little bit of like a graphical glitch. Slam didn't build that final palisade there, which I don't think he can build because he can't reach it, and therefore the way that the wall looks, there's no end piece. It's kind of funny, but yeah, like I say, Jordan 23 not going to get through, and we just saw Slam go up to the feudal age as well in a pretty decent time actually. And we see at the moment Jordan 23 still in the dark age after that drush. Everyone else up to feudal, and Slam nice and early up to feudal, bringing out a couple of galleys here to try and see what they can find on the water. Of course, Jordan 23 has not built a single dock. And, well, Slam's seen that. He's obviously scouted around here and he's seen it. So he knows that Jordan 23 hasn't docked, or at least since he last checked. Bad Jofro here, I'll have a look at his point of view, his perspective. He doesn't see a dock from the Viper either, but I guess, you know, you can't be too risky. You can't play riskily. You've got to do a few galleys here, and if only just to defend your own ships. But he should go out, he should be able to find Viper's fishing ships here, no problem, and might get a couple of fishing ship kills as well, before Viper makes it to feudal and gets his own galleys out. So Viper up to feudal on 32 pop, but he's quite slow in comparison to Bad Jofro, who went up on 31. And Bad Jofro here, looking pretty good actually. The fact that Viper's lost a villager here a little bit earlier is certainly a pain. Bad Jofro going to be able to fast castle a little sooner as well there. We also see Slam on the left side with no indication of fast castling this, but he is walling up, which makes me think he may decide to sling as well. I mean, seeing stone walls this sort of prematurely would generally indicate that someone plans to sling right here. Obviously he is going water at the moment, more fishing ships coming out. He knows that he's going to have an easy time taking down those ships, and he's going to bring 3 ships down from Viper, which means that's quite a bit of lost food income there. We know Jordan 23 has no dock, and that means that the Warlords have full water control, and Slam can come over here, start harassing these villagers as well. You know, he may just get a villager kill as on top of that, because these villagers are going downhill. One more shot, she goes down, and Viper doesn't even seem to have realized at the moment. Is Viper's brother playing here, perhaps? I don't know, but either way, the fact that he's lost a villager there, it's kind of messy. It seems like they're just out of range for the time being, but if Slam now gets fletching, which he can't do because he doesn't have a blacksmith, he could hit those villagers, but that's 2 villagers down, 3 fishing ships down for the Viper. Not a great start already, and the Warlord's looking pretty good at the moment. And with Slam now walling up this left side, I'm interested to see what his plan is here. What is he going to do? The very fact that he's building a mining camp right now is a little strange, and I'm almost expecting to see a market from him. And starting to sling Bad Joe for a little bit. Bad Joe, meanwhile, as we know, up to the Castle Age, taking plenty of stone here. Perhaps, well, we know, there's no perhaps about this, but we know he's going to stick up a castle as soon as he gets up to the Castle Age, or should I rather say the Cattle Age. And whether or not he places that defensively or offensively, we will see. Slam here starting to weaken these walls from the Viper, though, and this is a great little move here because this will prevent the Viper from walling up. Now, if you can prevent the Viper from walling up, you can get a castle, you can start putting plumed archers into his economy, and that's really going to hurt the Viper quite a lot. Viper still slower up to the Castle Age as well compared to Bad Joe, and Bad Joe has 5 fishing ships on top of that as well. Bad Joe now getting ready for that castle. Viper, however, no stone income for him really at the moment. Seems like he's well, he's got a lot of food, a lot of wood, a huge surplus of both. Perhaps we're going to see archers coming out then, rather than a castle. But generally speaking, going for the plumed archers is a much more effective way of doing things. And he's got a hole in his wall as well, which it just seems really negligent, to be honest with you. But look at that. Great play right there. Managing to pick off a villager in Bad Joe's stone mine, and that should not happen. Not at this level of play. That is very sloppy from Bad Joe. But if you have a quick look, Bad Joe has no farms, which means that he's not put his weakened villagers on the farms here. He's going to have a couple of weakened villagers from boar luring, and he managed to find one of those weakened villagers on the right side. That castle's now up though. That Eagle Warrior is now dead, and of course Viper's scouting that, sees what happens. The other weak villager is in here. Of course, if that villager was also taking the stone, we could have seen 2 villager deaths, and that is a little bit worrying. So at the moment, somehow, this militia from Jordan23 is doing a world tour, and Jordan23 at the moment still trying to keep that pressure on, but of course Slam on the water here can make good use of these galleys, picking off a couple of units, no doubt, if they stand in the firing line, and there's one down already. Slam as well, playing really defensively at the moment, still in the feudal age, and there's that market, so it looks like he will be slinging Bad Joe. Viper on the water, however, bringing out a couple of fishing ships. He needs to level the playing field here in terms of fishing ship advantage. Bad Joe already gaining a good amount of wood. But the mistake here is that Viper's been given the opportunity to wall this up with stone, and Bad Joe now, after building that castle, is no longer going to be able to send those plumed archers through because the wall is already being completed, and Viper now going to have that stone wall done, all because Slam moved his galleys out of the way, which is kind of a big deal. But Bad Joe is on the way up to Imp already, and Viper right now is quite a long way away. I'm wondering if he's getting any sling at all from Jordan at the moment. It doesn't look that way, because Jordan, of course, as we know, making a couple of crossbows here as well, and galleys on the water. So Viper up to 3 TCs and seemingly getting no sling. Bad Joe up to 2 TCs. He's got his castle and he's on the way up to the Imperial Age, with Slam staying in the feudal age here so that he can sling his teammates some extra resources. It's gonna be the same as the 4v4s and the 3v3s, it seems, and Bad Joe here has a fantastic opportunity now to very, very quickly shut the Viper down and put the Viper right out of this game. That's what he has to do, and he's got a few minutes to do that before the pressure starts really ramping up on Slam on this left-hand side. Jordan23, of course, up to the Castle Age now, and still booming up his eco. So far, I'm not seeing any sling from him. In fact, he doesn't even have a market, so it's not possible for him to sling at the moment. And, well, he should really replenish his lumber camp here. That's quite a long walking distance there for his villagers. But yes, Badgerofro up to the Imperial Age, and of course these guys know all too well what's going on. Badgerofro bringing out some fire ships and also making a quick transport here to try and get around. Will he get across that wall before the Viper manages to get his fire ships into position and take this transport down? Go, Badgerofro, go! Run like the wind, Badgerofro. Of course he's going to do just that, and he's already put one group of plumed archers around the wall as well. So water control always significant, always important. And Viper now in the firing line as these plumed archers with Bracer start to deny quite a bit of farmland. He's bringing everything he's got onto this castle, and you know, Badgerofro just needs to notice that and bring these plumed archers into position, and that's going to be a lot of dead villagers for him. We already see a battering ram here, and I don't know why Badgerofro is not going for the house and palisade over here. I guess it doesn't really matter. He's going to get through eventually. In fact, he's already in, and Viper now playing super hardcore defensive mode whilst he tries to defend this. But you know, he's a long way from the Imperial Age, and the real challenge now for the Tyrant Legends is that they have to get to Slam. Slam is the weak link in this kind of situation, and we can see now Jordan trying to transport around here, try and get through. Of course, Slam's even walled up the back of his base, knowing that a transport could come round, and it's so important for the Tyrant Legends that they damage Slam in this position. Otherwise, Badgerofro here will be able to do huge amounts of damage, but Badgerofro seems to be asleep at the moment. He's forgotten how to micro, and he's just let these plumed archers die, or get very close to dying, which is messy. At the moment, Viper as well does seem to have decent water control at the moment. His fire ships are very weak, but he did take down that transport ship, and he did manage to keep Badgerofro at bay for the time being. Badgerofro, though, really should be coming through this way. I mean, there's a fortified wall here now. It's so much easier to take down a house and a palisade than it is to take down a fortified wall. This wall here is not completed. So, I don't know why Badgerofro is persisting in trying to go through this way when there's a very obvious, very easy way through right here. Viper's got more walls on the way, though. And at the moment, Badgerofro now heading towards Jordan 23, but we know that Jordan 23 is not slinging this one. We know Jordan 23 is getting aggressive against Slam. At the moment, I'm worried because Badgerofro does not seem to be doing enough damage here. He does not seem to be managing to play aggressively enough, but this is just sad. This is just really sad to see Viper needing to wall up like this. Just, you know, 2, 3, 4 layers of fortified wall. You know, this is not the kind of game I feel that he even wants to be playing. You know, in 1v1, you never see the Viper walling up like this. You would never see 3 or 4 layers of fortified wall. But, you know, he has no choice. If he doesn't do that, Badgerofro will be in and he will massacre him. But, you know, it's sad that it has to be this way. I mean, why? Why? You know, if there was no sling, this would be a different story altogether. Badgerofro, however, managing to get into Jordan 23 now as well. Jordan 23, as we know, trying to keep that pressure on over at Slam's base, but there's a few plumed archers here to try and dispatch of any unwanted units. Oh man, look at that. Slam just gonna get that Mangonel right there. That should not have happened either. Jordan 23 should not have let that die. He had crossbows to hand. He could have killed that scout and prevented that from happening. That was a huge waste, but I guess Jordan 23 is really trying to deal with this at the moment from Badgerofro here and keep his eco safe. But at the moment, population-wise, Jordan 23 is at 68, Viper's at 63, Badgerofro at 85, and Viper at 64, Slam at 62, sorry. So everyone's relatively close. The only person who's in the lead in population at the moment is Badgerofro, and he is breaking through these walls. He's got another layer to get through, though, and he is going to have to bring some castles forward. Viper, meanwhile, is also on the way up to the Imperial Age. Better late than never, but it certainly cost him. It cost him quite a lot of resources, and look at that. Look at that. Jordan 23 now just proceeding to sling, because it's clearly sling or die. I mean, it's ridiculous. If one team slings, it's almost like you have no choice but to sling the other, sling your teammate, because if you don't do that, then they're gonna win. And that to me is just sad. I mean, that should not be the way it is. But there you go. Jordan 23 now slinging the Viper, and you know, at least they tried. At least they tried to do something different. At least he tried to pressure Slam, but Slam obviously able to wall it up fully, and Jordan 23 was unable to get in. And when he did get in, Bad Jofro was there, ready and waiting. Of course, for the Tyrant Legends, it's not all over. I mean, they are going to be playing from behind at the moment, but they can bring themselves back into the game, but it's going to be so very tough because this castle is on the verge of going down. It's only going to be a few moments before this next castle is going to be in the firing line, and at the moment Viper's got very little in defense. This castle is coming down faster than he can repair it, and if he loses that, he's only going to be on one castle, which means that he's not going to have the plumed archer production that he needs to hold Bad Jofro off, who is actually on to 3 castles now once this one goes up here. So that's one castle down. Viper's struggling here to get that plumed archer production. He's out upgraded as well. He doesn't have elite plumed archer at the moment, and at this rate he's not going to get elite plumed archer until he manages to get his own castle up. And honestly, it's a shame. So there you go. Viper doing elite plumed archer now. He's going to have to do everything he can to keep that castle alive whilst Bad Jofro deploys his trebs here. Bad Jofro still just doing conscription and bringing out more plumed archers, but look at that, he's not targeting the castle, and I don't know why he's doing that. He's letting the Viper get that upgrade, and like I say, I mean, if he'd have targeted that castle a little sooner, if he'd have moved his trebs earlier, maybe that elite plumed archer upgrade wouldn't have come in for the Viper there. He is still behind in upgrades though, and Bad Jofro here should be doing that defense upgrade very soon because he can afford it, so why not do it? And Bad Jofro still got a few units here, denying resources from Jordan as well. So that sling continuing to come through. Viper's still holding off as best he can, but you know, there's very little here. There's very little here. Oh, there's another castle at the back. There you go. He's got another one, and one in the middle as well. And more siege workshops going up also. Viper though bringing in those cap rams pretty quickly. That is generally a big deal. When it comes to Mayan Wars, getting those capped rams early is very important. But Bad Jofro's answer to that is the elite Eagle Warriors here. He's going to be using those to hopefully bring down any rams that Viper uses to attempt to I don't even know the word I'm looking for now. Attempt to soak up, absorb any arrow fire. So those guys are going to immediately rush down the capped rams. Elite Eagle Warrior, he's not got any special upgrades here, just +2 defense, but there's enough of them, I think, to start bringing the capped rams down. He's also got the mangonels in here to add a little bit of insult to injury, and that's gonna be painful. This capped ram on the left side getting a little bit out of range of these plumed archers here, and they're gonna get brought down. Viper was hoping he'd be able to rush the trebs down there and stop this castle going down, but it's going to go down regardless. One more shot from these trebs, or maybe 2, and it will be gone. There you have it. Bosh, down it goes. And Viper here still going to go for that capped ram. Bad Jofro blocking it, nicely done. And I don't know, it looks like he might just get this treb. Oh man, Bad Jofro really needs a few more Eagle Warriors in here, but wow. Barely keeping those trebs alive there. Good job he did though, otherwise that would have been very, very costly. Meanwhile, Viper's lost yet another castle, and he's now down to 2. Bad Jofro trying to get up that 4th castle there on the right side, but losing the villagers, and at the moment bringing more over. Population-wise as well, Bad Jofro on 37 military, 71 economy, Viper on 68 economy and 25 military. The only real difference here is the slingers. Jordan 23 does have a much larger economy than Slam at the moment, by about 20 villagers. So Jordan 23 arguably, now he has also got coinage, is going to be certainly slinging a lot more resources over to the Viper. So even though Viper and Bad Jofro are relatively close in terms of eco here, Viper should be getting more resources per minute, per second, whatever metric you want to use, and that is certainly going to help him out. Look at that, siege ram is now done, and Bajofro looks like he's on the back foot. I don't know why he's delaying siege ram like this. He's not got the... Well, he has got the resources, sorry, but he doesn't have the siege workshops. He doesn't have the techs being researched. He doesn't even have capped ram on the way at the moment, and that is worrying, because the way to win the Mayan war is to have those siege rams. Look at how much arrow fire they can soak up, and meanwhile, while they're soaking up the arrow fire, these guys are firing over the top, and they are picking off those plumed archers. Unless Bajofro manually targets these plumed archers, they will automatically fire at the closest target, and the closest target, of course, is going to be these rams here. So I'm a little bit concerned for Bajofro, and quite rightly so, I hope. Chicka Blam just became a Warlord. Thank you very much for subscribing, man. Much appreciated. Always appreciative of the support. So thank you very much for becoming a Warlord and supporting the stream. We have an official best new subscriber. Bajofro clearly going down this Elite Eagle Warrior route. He has got El Dorado though, and he has got +4 defense now. So that could start to make a little bit of difference. He's got enough here. And with El Dorado done, 100 health, 8 pierce armor. That's a good amount of pierce armor. Obviously, elite plumed archers have a little bit of an attack bonus against eagles, but that should be enough for them to bring down the rams. It's just, yeah, I do think that going for the rams, generally speaking, is the better idea. But Viper in full retreat once again, unable to take this gold, and I'm concerned that gold might be a problem soon as well, and players are going to have to start thinking about the center, in which case the Tyrant Legends actually do have an advantage. I feel they have got more water control, so they could get more gold out of the middle there. Viper, those siege rams, they are desperate to chase down those trebs, but the Eagle Warriors have other plans. They're going to try and stop them in their tracks. Bajofro, just like this, the slowest race of, you know, cat and mouse race ever. That these rams here are not going to achieve what they're looking to achieve. And Bajofro seems to be getting the upper hand at the moment. It is difficult to say, but he has got 20 more military population at the moment. Viper with more eco again though, and Jordan 23 obviously with the greater sling at the moment as well. So, you know, I'm starting to wonder if Viper's going to be able to hold out or not. At the moment, obviously, he certainly doesn't look too good. He's looking at a lot of villagers right there. Surprisingly, both of them don't have chemistry or anything like that yet, which is very odd. But Bajofro finally getting on it with the capped rams here. He's finally starting capped ram production, but he doesn't have the food at the moment to go for siege ram. Back at home, I feel like he's neglecting his eco a little bit. His TCs are working, but his you know, eco population is not too amazing. He could do with a little bit more here. He's only at 135 population. He really wants to get maxed out as soon as he possibly can here, if that is at all possible. So capped ram versus siege ram. Obviously the capped rams here should be upgraded relatively soon, but once again Viper does seem to be getting a small upper hand on this right side. These plumed archers here managing to tear into Bajofro, and these siege rams from Viper just, oh wow, they should not be getting past like this. They should not be getting past. Treb's going down, and Bajofro here trying to target down those siege workshops to stop Viper bringing more siege rams out onto the field. And honestly, this is where it's won and lost. It's the siege rams. These are the deal breakers. And these guys are currently going ham on Bajofro's rams. Look at that. Tons of damage coming out. Ram on ram action. Gotta love it. But look, these trebs right here, as soon as they get in the firing range of the rams, they are going to get so wrecked. There's another treb down, and yeah, they're getting caught out in that little choke point there, which is not so good. Not so good at all. Bajofro losing those trebs really carelessly, I feel. And Viper now regaining a little bit of ground. Another castle going up, and he's starting to push back a little bit as well on this left side with his own treb there as well. Look at that. These capped rams getting more kills. Should not be happening, but there it is. That last treb for Bajofro going down. Bajofro here struggling on gold at the moment, I feel. And we can see already that Jordan 23 now, with a few galleys on the water, able to move some villagers to the center here and take that extra gold. Meanwhile, Viper's trying to raid a little bit with these plumed archers, and wow, look at that! Look at that! There's a hole, a gaping hole. It seems in Slam's economy there. This gold is now out of bounds. That's a big problem because there's not a huge amount of gold left on the left side for Slam. And Viper here, I think he's pushing this one back, to be honest with you. You know, Bad Geofro here never managed to finish that 4th castle on the right side. This castle is about to go down, and Bad Geofro just does not seem to have the pushing power to push this back. Please tell me he's doing Siege Ram. He is. It's at 45%, but Viper here, I think he's already in position now to push this right back. Of course, Bad Geofro are going to hold out as best he can, but look at this. There's no rams here at all for Bad Geofro, and these rams, as they close in, are going to start tanking that arrow fire. And even though Viper's fighting this one uphill, he does not care. He does not need to care. He also out-upgrades Bad Geofro right now. He's got chemistry done, whereas Bad Geofro has only just completed chemistry. It took him a while. And look at that. Bad Geofro in full retreat now, and he's calling GG. Wow. Viper, too good for Bad Geofro there. And, well, I think it's understandable that Viper eventually got the upper hand. As I said, clearly, Jordan 23, he's going to have coinage done, whereas Slam does not. Coinage obviously affects how many resources you're able to sling to your teammate. Slam stayed feudal that entire game, whereas Jordan 23, up to 3 TCs, had a little bit more eco. Well, I say a little bit. He had about 57 more eco units than Slam, which meant that he could very easily sling more resources to the Viper. And although Viper was a lot slower up to the Imperial Age compared to Bad Geofro, he managed to defend for long enough that once those resources started coming through from Jordan 23, once they started piling up, he was able to get the upgrades done. He went straight for the Siege Ram. And, you know, if Bad Geofro didn't bother with the Eagle Warriors, if he'd have just gone straight for Siege Ram, I think that could have been a different story altogether, because Bad Geofro clearly had a good amount of momentum pushing into the Viper there, and as soon as those rams from Viper came out, that momentum nearly stopped. So I feel like big fundamental mistake from Bad Geofro there was not going for rams, and he went for eagles instead. Upgrading Elite Eagle Warrior, making Eagle Warriors, upgrading El Dorado, it's not cheap to do, and you're better off doing the rams in my opinion. So there you have it, Jordan and the Viper getting game number 1. That means the Legends go up 1-0, and well, it's just a shame, really, that the strategy was yet again slinging the Mayans, even in the 2v2. And, well, given the fact that these guys get to choose their civs quite a lot, we might see that a little bit more as well during this series.